Cantwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Governor Burgum, congratulations on your nomination. And I hope to run through a couple of questions here, so help me out in your brevity if possible. I know the ranking member anyway, and maybe even the chairman brought up our beautiful outdoor economy, which we've heard from your senator that apparently you're a big outdoorsman yourself. But not only have we become steward of over 20% of the land in the United States, but some of the most beautiful, iconic places in America. And these are an economic juggernaut. They are in my state, if you think about Mount Rainier or Olympic National Park or the Hanford Reach or many other places. The outdoor rec economy generates $1.2 trillion in economic output every year, $1.2 trillion, and accounts for 5 million jobs. And I believe continues to grow at an incredible clip that when you think about economic development in some of our more rural communities, it doesn't take a lot to add a little bit of infrastructure, and then next thing you know, you're off to the races as to making a tourism and an economic impact to these economies. I think in North Dakota, it was your third largest industry, generating $1 billion and 14,000 jobs, and you actually created an office of outdoor recreation. Good for you. Good for you. So I think you get it. But now when we talk about this oil, first I want to make sure on the public lands, will you support more input in outdoor recreation economies and gateway communities? And will you fully utilize the LWCF and support the conservation legacies bills that we've passed?
Well, of course, first of all, in your comments on outdoor recreation, I agree completely on the importance of this. And it's not only good for the economy, it's also good for the health of Americans. I mean, I think one thing that we understand is that we just need more people to get off their devices, get outdoors, get engaged, understand the importance of our land, our wildlife, our soil health, all that aspects of it. And again, we are facing a mental health and addiction crisis in our country. And part of the answer is, for many people, is that getting that connection back to the outdoors. So support that completely, and would look forward to working with you on your other issues as well.
Great. So you support the LWCF that we've passed in continuing to support those funds?
Some of those acronyms I'm less familiar with, so I'd look forward to learning more about them. But
okay. Well, we'll get you a question for the record because it's vitally important, we believe. We think we broke through finally. And the reason why I'm asking this is because the lead up to the next question.
Okay.
You're for this very aggressive oil and lease strategy, I think, or maybe you're going to take this helm over, with a group of people and say we need to do more on the oil and gas. Part of our efforts have been to show that these federal lands are very important in an outdoor economy. And so how many areas that we've already leased for oil and gas that aren't being used, why don't we start there? Why don't we just start with those, the leases that are already there? Why don't we start with that?
Well, I think I would use the term that I was for aggressive. I've never stated that. I'm for following the law. In the current administration in North Dakota, for the first time since Harry Truman, the quarterly lease sales were not held as required by law. It didn't happen for 2 years. We ended up having to sue the federal government just to follow the law. So I think the starting place is for us to go back to follow the law on these, and then again, we always want to prioritize those areas that have the most resource opportunity for America with the least impact on lands that are important. And I think that's pretty simple formula to be able to figure that out, given the scale of the amount of public lands we have. We can do a lot more without touching or even being visible to any of the people that are concerned about land use.
So you would prioritize the existing leases?
I'm not sure if I understand the...
Juxtaposed to, this conversation, which we've had many times in this committee, let's expand more leases that, that we don't have right now. I'm sure the chairman would we could get into a very long discussion here about Bears Ears, particularly I wasn't for expanding oil and gas leasing into Bears Ears. It's a beautiful protected area. I personally think that the outdoor economy is a juggernaut. I don't want offshore drilling off the coast of Washington. Why? I got a marine sanctuary. Why in God's name? I have a Cascadia fault line. I mean, I could have devastation to an economy that's paying dividends. Why would I want to do that? So I'm just saying, one of the things that would be helpful to hear from you is that you believe in prioritizing on federal land the leases that are already there, as opposed to now going and saying, okay, let's get a big map and open up all federal land to new leasing. Because your point about efficiency, yeah, the most efficient thing is go after what you already have.
Well, I'm going to have to, before I can make an affirmative statement that I agree with you, I'd have to understand, because what I've seen in my time as governor is not that we have existing, but we're actually restricting legal access for development or timber or oil and gas or whatever on public lands today,
Okay.
by illegally not holding the leases that should have been held. So I'm not even, I'm
Okay,
not,
we'll come, my time is up, and I'm now in the red, so I'm going to get cut off here. So, but we will submit something for you and submit something for the record on that. I'm sure I'll submit something on fire and CLT, and maybe you and I can have a discussion about what I think really would help us move forward on some of those issues. But I also, just for the record, on tribal sovereignty, you believe in tribal sovereignty, you believe in tribal consultation, which doesn't mean you just pick up the phone and have one conversation. Tribal consultation means you actually, when the federal government says, hey, so much money needs to go to tribes, that you actually figure out the plan for that to happen.
well, tribal consultation to me as governor of North Dakota has meant actually spending time and going to the tribes, listening, sometimes listening for hours to really understand what the issues are, and then in getting to people ahead of time, and then working on things that are important. We achieved MOUs on law enforcement. I mean, some of the scarcest and most devastating law enforcement in this country right now is the lack of BIA agents on federal land. I mean, some of the tribal reservations have become harbors for criminal organizations because they know that we don't have enough resource there, and then our local county sheriffs, the state police, in many cases didn't have jurisdiction. That's just one. Healthcare is another. I mean,
Yep, thank you. I'm sorry, the chairman's going to cut me off. But thank you so much for that answer. I appreciate it. That is the kind of stewardship we need with our partnership between us and Indian country. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go to Senator Murkowski now.